She'll give us the title and instructions of the class. God bless you.
Good morning. It's good morning. Yes. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to Biblical Management. This will be the first session of 3. Within this class structure, there will be 3 topics: managing your time, managing your people, and managing your resources. This particular topic came at a funny time, because I'm now learning to balance and to manage my time because I've taken on a new project. And yesterday I was talking to someone and they asked me, well, what's the topic of the class? And I said, it's time management. And they said, well, that'll be interesting because you didn't do a good job of managing your time today, because I was late getting somewhere that I needed to be. So this will be a refresher for me. As I'm imparting into you, I will be imparting into myself. So let me just, I do not have a handout today because I did not manage my time well. So what I will do is I will put the notes up in the file. I think we have a group on Church Community Builders. So if you're not in Church Community Builders, please get on it, because that's where I will post these notes. But then next week I'll also bring an additional handout with the one that I'll bring next week. All right, I'm short here, so I'll have to keep looking down. Something a little bit taller so I can look right at it. Okay, so as I mentioned, this class is called Biblical Management, Managing Your Time, Your People, and Your Resources. As Pastor Will introduced, I'm your instructor for this semester, and I look forward to our time together. A course to give you an overview of the things that we'll be talking about. People management. In this class, we're going to discuss ways to manage our human resources in order to reach the goals of the organization while helping others to succeed. People management does not mean lording over people. It does not mean telling people what to do, but it does mean encouraging people to get them to do what needs to be done. Resource management. In that session, we'll discuss how to get the most out of the resources that are available to us. I can remember growing up, going to look in the refrigerator and not seeing anything. Well, what I thought was nothing to eat. But 10 minutes later, my grandmother could go in there and there's a whole buffet of stuff. So she used the resources that she had in order to provide for us. So we will talk about the resources that we have available to us. Sometimes we don't have everything that we need, but we need to learn how to use what we do have and to use it effectively. So today's class is time management. Let's talk about what time management is. So short and simple, time management is the art of arranging your business and personal affairs in such a way that you and your things show up when, where, and how you've intended them to, as frequently and as effortlessly as possible, and to facilitate getting things done as quickly as possible with the least amount of resources, which would be your time, your energy, your money, and people as necessary. Time is the scarcest resource that we have available to us. And if it is not managed properly, then nothing else can be managed. There are 24 hours in a day. We don't get any more. As much as we try to stretch it out, we're only going to get 24 hours. So in my mind, it's broken down this way. I get 8 hours of sleep if I'm lucky. I spend 8 hours at work if I'm lucky. And then I get 8 hours to do whatever I want to do if I'm lucky. So for most of us, a lot of times the demands of work require us to work overtime, which means that in the other 8 hours that are left, that takes away from some of the fun things that we want to do. And we're going to talk about what happens when we get out of balance with trying to manage our time to the point where we just lose all joy, and the joy just kind of gets sucked out of everything. We just feel like we're just spinning our wheels and spinning our wheels, and we're not really accomplishing anything. So today we're going to talk about 3 keys that will help us to manage our time. Those 3 keys are organization, prioritization, and delegation. When we think about, tell me, when you think about getting organized, what are some of the things that you do to get organized? Whether you're organizing your life, your work day, you're organizing things at home. What are some things that you do to get organized? Who said? Did you say wake up?
Clean up.
Oh, I thought you said wake up. Okay, so we clean up. Okay, a to-do list. Planning. Anybody else? Anybody ever do a schedule? Okay, you have a schedule. I'm probably gonna be, this will be antiquated here, but I guess PDAs are out, but what's in? Because I'm not technical, so. Okay, so you have your smartphones and you have your calendars on your phones, and so those things help us to get organized. When and this is just how antiquated I am. When I first started working at the church, I had what I called a timed schedule. To the point of, I would say at 8 o'clock, I walk through the door. At 8:05, I get my coffee. 8:10, I'm doing something else. I'm checking my emails, checking my messages, and all of those kinds of things. Then I would say today, depending on what day it was, I would do payroll, or I would write checks, and those kinds of things. But I think sometimes as life gets away from us and we have other tasks that we have to do, we can get off schedule. So it's really important to have a schedule, to create a list of things that you know that you need to do that day. All right. So I have a article here that I'll scan these and put these online as well. And these are 5 fake productive things that we do that are a waste of time.
Oh,
so
fake.
Fake. Yeah, that means we do them, but they really don't accomplish anything. So you can tell me if you agree. And so this is an article from Work Smart by Gwen Moran. So what she says is, most of us want to squeeze more time out of each day. But once you're organized, listed, time blocked, and eliminated distractions, what else is there to do? So she goes on to say, there's plenty for us to do, but here are some things that creates us or keeps us from actually doing things that we need to do. One is, and very interesting, putting out fires. If you're moving from one crisis to another, you're not making the best use of your time. Too often we get caught up and swept up into the drama and situations that are not urgent, nor do they need immediate attention. These are time suckers that is based on an illusion, she says. Instead, we should look for the root causes of the emergencies. Now, is it an emergency because we've procrastinated, we've had poor management of our time, miscommunication, or anything else? Once we understand why the emergency is occurring, then we can be all hands on deck and give it the attention that is required. Now, one of the, well, I'll come to that one. The next is perfectionism. Who in here is a perfectionist? Okay. So according to Gwen, she says that you're not perfect, that there is no such thing as being perfect, so stop trying. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Not only will you drive yourself crazy, but you're going to drive the other people around you crazy, because nothing is ever enough. Now, I think Pastor doesn't we don't use the term perfection. We use the term excellence. So doing something with excellence is achievable, but trying to do something with perfection is not. You know, you got to dot every I, you got to cross every T. It's got to be right here and not here. And if it's just a centimeter over, then everything is just out of whack. So last night we had an event and we were cleaning up. Now we were cleaning up and we were putting everything back where it goes. Maurice was there and he was helping us, and we do appreciate it. So we were moving things, and I won't call any names, but one of my partners who's in the room, moving stuff. And so she's trying to line everything up with the light. And it was just, I mean, it was just a hair off. But she was driving me crazy because it had to be in place. So we had the table in front, the couch here, 2 other chairs on the side.
Was that Charlene?
And so
It was excellent. It wasn't perfection.
excellent.
And the one that said about time management, how you
Okay.
So she was getting off. So it was, in my mind, it was just a hair off.
Uh-huh.
It looked beautiful, but in her mind, right until I just scooted that chair over just a little bit, and then she was fine. Now, the moral of that story is when you are dealing with someone that is a perfectionist, just roll with it. Do it the way they want it done. Gone. It's easier because you're going to waste time arguing with the person and trying to convince them that your way is the better way. Sometimes you just have to fight the good fight and move on from it.
All right.
Okay. Now, the next one is procrastination. Any procrastinators in the room? And I don't think we procrastinate on purpose. I think that we just, when we organize and put things on a list, we just say that's not as important as this. So it may appear to other people that it's procrastination. Sometimes it is just downright procrastination. When I was in college, I convinced myself that I did my best work at the 9th hour. Yes. So I remember my senior year, I had a term paper that was due, and I just procrastinated. No, what I did was I got the assignment and I did my outline the first day, had my outline. So I said, okay, I got it. I'm gonna be able to get this in and I'm gonna be able to do it. So time passed and I think I had a couple of weeks to get it done. Well, I said, well, you know, I just do better in the crunch. I can do it better in the 9th hour. Particular 9th hour, I had drank probably 2 pots of coffee. Took about 6 no-dos because that's what we were doing back then. And I got the paper done. I got an A. I slept for 2 days. Nobody checked on me. Nobody bothered if I was still alive. The moral to that story is don't wait until the end to get something done because you could kill yourself. So procrastination does not allow enough time to get things done, even though in that particular instance, I did get a good grade. But that doesn't mean that that's going to be the result all the time.
But you got a good grade before you need hours of work time.
Yes. Maurice.
I've heard people say that they do better in crunch time. I don't agree with that, but.
And some people very well may, but if you're not one of those people, then that's probably not a good practice for you.
Well, I mean, and the question I would have to say to that, well, how do you know you do better in crunch time?
'Cause you
If the
gotta
only time
take
you
a
only do
chance.
stuff
Yeah.
is at crunch time.
Mhm.
What if you did do it in advance, then you could compare it to your crunch time. But I think it's really because we procrastinate and we say, well, I did a good job because I wait till the last minute. But maybe you could have did a better job had you not waited till the last minute.
Chanel?
I think that it all depends on the situation. Because if you're procrastinating and it affects only you, then that's okay, because that's your preference.
Right.
But if it affects others, then we have to be mindful, because it's not only about you, it's about someone else too. So they may not have that opportunity to do the last minute
Mm-hmm.
because you can't. So I'm just saying, like with that, I think it goes both ways. It just depends on who's affected.
Okay. Urban.
Just to add to it, the issue comes in when you can't control the other variables.
Right.
You can't control if your power goes out. You can't control if there's an emergency in your family that you have to go to. So if you wait to the last minute, you're really opening up yourself to more risk. Not saying that it can't be done, but there's so many things that could go wrong when you can't complete that assignment, which is you would have prepared for it in advance. You probably would have been assured.
I apologize. I don't know. Patrick.
Time management is not always something that has to deal with affecting someone else. It deals with the idea of developing bad habits, where it creates an atmosphere to be something that could cause you to have a dilemma or a delayed reaction.
Okay. That's a great point. Miguel?
That was also coming to some of that is that oftentimes we may be pulled into someone else's situation that affects our situation. We may be planned out, we may have it all lined up, but when their unplannedness or bad behavior now affects our behavior, then it's become even more of a problem.
Well, actually, it was back to what Urban was saying. If we did things ahead of time, which I try to do a practice of, because again, you just don't know what's going to happen that next week. And so, if you're able, if someone else needs you, you have that open space where you don't have to say, well, I can't do that because I have this to do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. And just along those lines, I find that when I procrastinate and something else does come up, now I'm evil and I'm mad because you've asked me to do something and I can't really do it, or I feel pressured to do it. So keeping in mind that other things can come up will help us to not procrastinate. All right. And the last thing she says is forced neatness is a waste of time.
Neatness?
Neatness. Now she gives us two scenarios. She says that if having a lot of email in your inbox doesn't bother you, then why spend hours each week trying to clean it out? If you are fine with a messy desk, then don't sweat having a few piles here and there. These things are only problems when they distract you or inhibit your productivity. One of my coworkers, her desk is an absolute wreck, train wreck. But I guarantee you, if you go in there and you ask her where something is, she can pull it right out. Now that would drive me insane because I have to have things neat, pushed in a drawer. Well, I just don't need to see it. It can be just in a drawer and when I get ready for it, but it can't be on my desk. But with her, it's just piled up there and you just go in there and you say, I'm looking for something from 1983. Remember when we did Fam Fest or More Than Conquerors? Oh yeah, girl, here you go. Now, even in my neatness, I probably wouldn't have been able to find it. So it just depends on what works for you. Okay. And we can't always put our habits off on other people. It's all about productivity. What works, what gets the job done in the quickest, most cost-effective, cost-effective, economical, same thing. So cost-effective and having things done quality or with excellence, as we say. All right, the next topic is prioritization. The reality of today is that we have more to do, better, faster, and with less. Time, quality, and cost are in constant tension, especially in hard economic times and the speed of which the world is changing. When we talk about prioritization, we talk about where I mentioned earlier, making a list, then checking things off, and then deciding what is most important. I think that this is a productive tool because it allows us to make decisions on what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. So I have 8 things here, and they go like this. Record all of your activities. And I think Shayna mentioned she does a to-do list. And so you write down all of the things that you feel that you are needing to do, whether it's home, work, church, and then you put them in an order. You assign a number, and you determine what the goal is for the week. So some weeks I have to do payroll. So I know that on Monday there's a part that I have to do. On Tuesday there's a part that I have to do. Don't ask me why. I just don't do it all on Monday and just be done with it. But there are other factors. People don't turn the time sheets in on time. I got to chase them down. So I just do things in over a 3-day period for that particular thing. So I have a list of everything that needs to get done with payroll. Then I prioritize and say what actually needs to get done first. Now, when I have other activities that come up, whether it be a staff meeting or a senior executive meeting in the evening, or if I'm running to my niece's basketball game or something, then I still put that on the list. And then when my day starts to get hectic, then I have to go back and I say, okay, this is not going to get done today. So now it has to move to another day. So even when you have a to-do list or you're listing out your activities, it's okay to shift and to move, but you have to make sure that you're getting the things that are important done first. So I can't put off paying the light bill to Friday if they've sent me a notice saying that on Monday they're going to turn the lights off. I need to pay the light bill on Monday. So just managing it and knowing what needs to be done. Then saying, well, we talked about ranking 1, 2, 3 or ABC, whichever way you want to do it. We talked about the fact that you would create a schedule. And creating a schedule means actually putting time limits on things. So here it says, indicate the deadlines for each task, estimate the amount of time that you need to complete the task, and then keeping in mind that the tasks may be linked together. So some things you may do in conjunction with other things. Then readjust the goals and adjust as you need to, purge some things because you just know some things are just never going to get done. So you don't want to waste time spinning your wheels trying to get those things done. The third part of this is delegation, understanding that you are not alone. For those of us who think that we're an island and we can do it all by ourselves, we have to come to the realization that we're not. Stop trying to make everybody think you have all the answers because you don't. Stop trying to prove that you're a superwoman or a superman because you're not. God created us to be in relationship, and I think First Lady talks about that a lot. Whether it's with our coworkers or if it's at home with our families, our church members. If you need help, say you need help. You know, there's nothing wrong in needing help. Now, don't just get people to do your stuff because you don't want to do it. But just understanding that there is help available. There are tasks that you may not want to delegate to anyone else. Now, what I will say to that is, if you go outside and get hit by a bus, task is going to get done, isn't it? Okay? So there's no such thing as I have to do it all myself. I got myself into a situation when I was working at Wachovia. If I didn't do it, I just felt like it wasn't going to get done. So I created a culture of, well, Yvette's got it. Yvette's going to do it. So when Yvette wanted to take a vacation and something came up, what happened? Yvette couldn't go. Now I'm understanding that delegation is a great thing. Understanding who I'm delegating to and what I'm delegating to them. Now I can't delegate, well, I can. I don't have anything in my job description that I can't delegate to someone else. Today I'm here. The cupcakery is going on because I have delegated stuff to my employees to do so that I can be here. I'm going to the fair later. They're going to be working. So understand that you don't have to do it all. It's impossible for you to do it all. Just find people that you trust. Find people that are organized. Find people who have your best interests at heart and groom them. Teach them. Show them how to do it. Sometimes I think we get fearful that if I show somebody how to do my job, they're going to take my job. Well, they might. That's the reality of it. They might, and it's okay. You go find something else to do. There's plenty to be done. Ever.
You'll find that most great leaders that talk about their leadership will remind you that you want to train people to take your job.
Mm-hmm.
You never should be afraid of someone learning what you know, because you can never go to the next level if you don't train somebody. So you think that you can do it all. There's so many that are in the graveyard right now that figured out they couldn't do it all. So your whole mindset should always be, I want to train somebody so they'll know how to do my job, because there's another job that I've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or my job now is to retire and watch you all do without me.
Exactly. Okay. Amen. Great. Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about the balancing. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly.
Say that when you find someone to help you, make sure you find someone that's doing what they're good at, not necessarily what you want them to do well at. Because sometimes we ask people to do things and just because they're kind and they want to help, they do things that maybe are not in their area of expertise, and everyone wants to be perfect.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point. Gwen?
Another thing is when you tell somebody, they may have a better way to do it, the end result is the same, but accept their way of doing it versus it has to be done this way.
Mm-hmm. And that reminds me of when I had an after-school program in my hometown, and my sister was running it. Well, I'm the pseudo-perfectionist in the family, and so if I would give her a task to do, I would have to tell her how to do it. She would get frustrated with me. I would get frustrated with her. I would, threaten to fire her every other day. And my mom finally just said, she is not you. She has her way of doing things, but you guys are both going to get it done. So there's no real right way to do something as long as you're getting the results that are needed. Urban.
Yeah, I think what you do have to be mindful of, though, is that when you're in a hierarchical organization, you still may need to run some of those things you're trying to do past specific people, because the result may affect multiple other areas.
Okay.
So while we don't want to stifle creativity, you know, we may have to allow those new people to understand, well, you have to at least meet these very minimum guidelines because this other group is dependent on you. A lot of times those new people will not know that amount of information, but combination of the two should work fine.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
I just have a comment regarding like some people that are in leadership positions, like you were saying about wanting people to do things the way. It's almost like you hold other people hostage because they don't think the way you think, or because they won't handle the situation the way you would handle it, instead of allowing them to be creative and do it in a way where even if it's not right, you maybe coach them and kind of give them a little something to smooth the edge off or something like that keeps people from being able to grow.
And then just think too that I was told a long time ago, as long as you're not costing me any money, everything is fixable. So some things you just kind of learn as you go along. You do it by trial and error, but just don't let it cost me any money. Don't let your mistake cost me any money. So, all right. So in the balancing act, as ministry leaders, there are 3 areas of our lives that impact how we manage our time. That's our work, home, which includes family and friends, and church. So one of the things that I've learned over the years is that if you don't create balance in your life, then the life will be sucked out of you. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll find that there's no joy in it anymore. You lose your first love. You just going through the motions. Nothing is really working. You're not getting anywhere. So how we manage our time not only affects us, but it affects other people around us, our family, our friends, our co-workers, and our fellow church laborers. When we don't manage our time properly, we can get out of balance to the point that we don't know where home, family, work begins or ends. And I know that a lot is for me because I work at the church and then I go to the church. I have to create some type of balance. And I was telling Pastor in a meeting, I said, you know, I love the work that I do for the church, but I don't feel like I ever have time for ministry stuff. I don't ever feel like I can step outside of writing checks for people to do something, what I consider to be fun, which would be ushering, being in the choir, helping with culinary, and those kinds of things. Because whenever I've done those things, here comes somebody. Yvette, I need to ask you, where's such and such? We need to find this. So I stopped. But now I'm at a point where when I come to church, I want to come to church. I want to get the word like everybody else is getting the word. All right, because then I'm a whole lot better to deal with if I can.
If I alone on Sunday, it's the word.
So what I've done is I've come up with a tool or a little theory, and it's called compartmentalization. And I do that because it helps me to keep everything in its own place and knowing when to check out of certain things. Now, this may not work for everyone all the time because there are times when our lives are going to be out of balance, but it shouldn't be out of balance for so long that we can't get back. So at work, do your work at work. Don't take your work home. Turn off the phones. Stop procrastinating during the day, because when we procrastinate during the day, then we feel compelled to take things home to do it so that we don't have to do it the next day or because we may miss a deadline. When your home life, leave the drama at home. Johnson and Phyllis, I made you mad the day before. When you go to work, call a time out. When you go to work, call a time out. Say, baby, we're going to deal with this when I get back home. But now I have to go to work. and I got to deal with these people, so I don't need you calling me, fussing at me about something I ain't do last night. Okay? So we're gonna call a timeout. We're gonna limit our personal phone calls. We're gonna run errands, and we're gonna take care of personal business during our breaks. Now, I'm just saying, okay? My job is to give you the information, and your job is to figure out how to get it there. And
I got a question.
yes.
As it relates to working in the ministry, you have people that work during the day, and then you have people that don't work during the day that depend on somebody after hours or weekends for support.
I'm gonna get to that. All right, then you can tell me if this answers your question. So, church, plan ahead so that you and your team and your daytime staff, that part I'm gonna put in parentheses, and your daytime staff can enjoy the worship experience. Don't wait until you get to church to figure out what needs to be done, because it can be annoying, distracting, and inconveniencing to those who you work with. I know that things come up, but one thing about Victorious Praise is that from 8 a.m. on Monday to probably about 6 o'clock on Saturday, you can reach someone on the daytime staff. So we would be grateful if you all would stay within that time constraint, so that for those 2 to 3 hours that we have on Sunday, we can come, we can enjoy it, we can fellowship, we can get the word, so that when you call on Monday, we're all smiles and we're ready to assist. Does that answer your question?
Partially.
Okay.
And I do agree with 100% of what you're saying. I would say that 95% of the people that we try to support are doing it after hours and on weekends. And so therefore, it would make sense for us to have the teams available when the people that are helping are trying to get some of the other stuff done. Not saying it should be you, but just something to throw out there.
I think too that we're in a unique situation. I don't think you'll find a lot of churches set up the way we are. And so we're unique in that. And so there has to be some crossover. But I agree, it shouldn't be to a point where it disrupts you all in service or whatever. And the same thing for us on our job. Because, Mr. State of North Carolina don't like certain things. Right. They come across my email and so forth. So we all have got to, it's got to be a kind of a mutual agreement across the board. Right. But then one other thing that, it's interesting. Jesus even understood the importance of resting. Because you'll find the Bible says after the days were made God rested, Jesus went down in the boat and was asleep. Wasn't playing, he was asleep. That to wake him up. But it's interesting, those things are in the Bible that indicate we too have got to take advantage of downtime. That time to rest, that time to fellowship. Because I think a lot of our stuff that we have that conflicts with what we do is our relationship with God. Is our time that we're spending with him. When we're talking about time, we're not spending that active time with God. That throws everything else off kilter on a sort and starts relationship.
One thing we found out, I come from a much larger church than Victorious Praise, about 7,000 members there. And at that, on the staff, working with the bishop before and the ministry there, what we found out is when we're working in ministry, you don't have downtime because ministry is a 24-hour job. However, like he said, you have to have rest. And your rest comes when the bishop always told us this year when the bishop passed. He always told me because he is 24 hour, when he goes out of town, he don't take anything with him. He don't take his laptop, phone, anything else. And when he goes to someone else's service, they it's almost like he's someone, a lay person just sitting in the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that is his downtime for him to be able to get ministry. I'm just saying to you all, you're not going to expect too much more from people, especially when we got email, phone. Some people are not connected to this stuff. I'm a savvy person. I just love that phone just for the idea of playing games on it. And when you send me an email, my wife normally say, Patrick, you got an email. and then I'll go to my email and I'll look through my email. I'm still antiquated. I got a business. I don't even deal with the email thing. I still fax and phone. Everything is communicated eyeball to eyeball. So you got some people that still dealing with the eyeball to eyeball. They have a dyslexic problem about dealing with the technology and stuff. They have to deal with the effects of having somebody right for them. So you're not going to get around those kind of angles there.
Now, the workaround to that is, again, we're open Monday through Friday. Jump in your car, run up there, call us on the phone, we'll answer. So there's a workaround to everything. I know that there are certain situations where things will have to be done on Sundays.
We are going to have to, though, figure it out because I hear this a lot. Our church is doing too much. I hear it a lot. Now, the answer isn't, well, stop doing it. The answer is what she's telling us today. Sunday morning, we're doing too much. Sunday morning, I'm looking around, preachers gone, ministers gone, leaders gone. Now, they at church, but when I look to see them sitting there to be getting fed by me, they're gone. Your lay members say there's too much walking. There's almost, that's because of what she's talking about here. So we've got to figure this out because we're coming across, it's just so much going on. People are always walking. And then I get frustrated because I look around and I don't see my leaders. And I know I saw they caught in the parking lot. But they off doing something. We are doing too much. And again, the answer that she's saying is don't not do it, but just figure out how to get it done so that we can do this. And so she's given us 3 things. Prioritization. So she sounds like she's trying to preach like me.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like an artistic.
I learned.
Organization. Listen to that poetry. Organization, prioritization, and delegation. So if we did those things, I think a lot of this busyness in church would stop.
Oh, thank you. So that's all that I have for today. I will leave you with this one last quote. We are to accomplish as much as we can with the time that God has given us. We will be eternally rewarded for investing our time in good works, and we should live as if each moment counts because it does. Thank you.
So I will conclude what she just said. I'll tell you the biblical version of what she just said. I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day, because the nighttime cometh when no man can work. So I need y'all to understand the day is from 8 o'clock Monday morning. Okay. To 12, she said 6 o'clock Saturday evening. So that's the day. Sunday morning, it's time for us to go in and worship the Lord. So let's keep that in mind. Very good teaching. Let's give Yvette another great big hand. I'm going to stop the